The global financial system has just crossed a point of no return as we enter the first weekend of 2026. While many believe the new year would bring a fresh start, the data emerging from the banking sector suggests that a system freeze is already in motion. Unlike the localized bank failures of the past, what we are witnessing today is a structure L paralysis of the entire Western monetary grid. The system frozen alert isn't a prediction for the future. It is a reality that began unfolding in the dark hours of January 2nd. To understand why this is bigger than the 2008 crisis, you have to look at the numbers. In 2008, the total U.S. national debt was around $10 trillion. Today, as we start 2026, that number has exploded past $38 trillion. The system is carrying nearly 4 times the weight with a much weaker foundation. In 2008, the banks ran out of trust. In 2026, the banks have run out of physical collateral. The era of printing money to solve every problem has finally hit a brick wall of physical reality. The first proof of this system freeze is found in the widespread reports of digital banking glitches across the United States this weekend. Thousands of users are reporting delayed transfers and maintenance messages on their banking apps. This is a classic symptom of a liquidity crunch. When banks don't have enough physical assets to settle their internal debts, they slow down the movement of money to prevent a total collapse. This is exactly how the 2008 crash started, with small unexplained glitches that eventually turned into a national emergency. The most dangerous part of this freeze is the connection to the physical silver market. For decades, bullion banks like JP Morgan used paper silver to create an illusion of plenty. But the first trading days of 2026 have exposed the lie. As industrial giants demand their physical bars, the banks are finding their vaults empty. The system frozen alert is a desperate attempt to stop investors from realizing that the digital silver they see on their screens is backed by absolutely nothing but a failing promise. As we expose the truth about this 2026 reset, the big tech algorithms are working overtime to bury this message. They don't want you to know how fragile your bank account really is. If you believe that we have the right to own physical assets and that our wealth should be protected from this systemic collapse, I want you to stop right now and comment 2026 below. By typing 2026 in the comments, you help bypass the censorship and push this warning to thousands of other Americans. Let's stand together. The official COMEX warehouse data is the smoking gun. Registered silver inventory, the only metal actually available for sale, has dropped to a level that can no longer support the global high-tech industry. We are looking at a physical supply that covers less than 1% of the total digital claims. In 2008, the problem was toxic mortgages. In 2026, the problem is phantom silver. The banks sold metal they didn't have, and now that the world is demanding delivery, the system is freezing up to hide the default. Industrial demand has become the executioner of the old banking system. Companies like Tesla, Samsung, and major AI server manufacturers have officially bypassed the paper markets. Reports suggest they are now signing direct contracts with miners, leaving the big banks with no physical liquidity to settle their digital trades. This is why the buy buttons were restricted earlier this week. The banks are terrified that if the public joins the industrial panic, the silver price will gap up to $150 in a single afternoon. Bank of America is currently the biggest short seller trapped in this 2026 nightmare. Their estimated short position of 800 million ounces is now a multi-billion-dollar liability that threatens their very existence. Every time the price of silver rises by $1, Bank of America's balance sheet takes a massive hit. The system frozen alert provides the legal cover for these institutions to delay their payments while they plead for a government bailout. This is 2008 all over again, but this time there is no physical metal to save them. The transition to central bank digital currencies, or CBDCs, is the secret motive behind this freeze. The global elite want the old system to break so they can force everyone into a new digital ledger where every penny is tracked and taxed. Physical silver is the only thing standing in their way because you can own it privately. By freezing the banking system now, they hope to frustrate you into accepting a digital dollar swap. But remember, if your wealth is digital, it can be deleted with a single keystroke. Geopolitically, the BRICS nations have already moved into the post-dollar era. Their new gold and silver-backed currency system is designed to thrive during a Western banking lockdown. While our banks are freezing transfers, the East is vacuuming up the world's remaining physical metal. China understands that in a system reset, the nation with the most physical resources wins. By allowing our vaults to be drained, Washington has effectively handed the keys to the future economy to its primary rivals, leaving the American people exposed. The gold-to-silver ratio is another undeniable proof that the reset is here. For thousands of years, the ratio was 15-1. Today, it is artificially held at nearly 80-1 to make silver look cheap. This is a historical anomaly that cannot last. As the system freezes, this ratio is set for a violent snapback toward 30-1 or lower. Even if gold stays at its current price, silver must rise to $125 just to reach its fair value. The $71 price is a lie. The $125 target is a mathematical fact. New bail-in laws are the fine print that every American needs to read today. These laws state that during a systemic crisis, the bank can officially seize your deposits to maintain its own solvency. In exchange, they give you worthless bank stock. This is why the system frozen alert is so critical. If your wealth is sitting in a traditional bank account, you are an unsecured creditor. The second the bank declares an emergency, your access is denied, and your savings become their property. Only physical silver remains yours. Mining data proves that no new supply is coming to save the banks this year. Ore grades in Mexico and Peru are in a terminal decline, meaning miners are pulling less silver out of the ground for every hour of labor. We have reached peak silver, yet the demand for AI chips and solar panels is 10 times higher than it was in 2008. The banks bet that mining would increase as prices rose, but they forgot they had already made it almost illegal to start new mines with extreme environmental rules. Much of the banking debt is hidden in the shadow markets, where leverage has reached a staggering 500 to 1. This is a ticking time bomb that is exploding as we speak. As silver prices hit $100 in the private markets, the bullion banks are facing their own Lehman Brothers moment. The 2026 freeze is their final attempt to re-index their debt and hide the trillions in losses from the general public. They are burning down the financial village to save their own institutional castle. Investors must understand the danger of force majeure clauses. These laws allow the exchanges to cancel your silver contracts and pay you in cash if there is an emergency. By declaring a system frozen status, the banks are preparing to void your physical silver ownership. They know they don't have the bars, so they will try to give you devaluing dollars instead. This is why physical possession is your only protection. If you don't hold the silver in your safe, the bank can simply delete it from their records. The psychology of the market has shifted from holiday cheer to survival mode. On decentralized social platforms, the word is spreading about the banking freeze. People are finally realizing that the global debt bubble is popping in real time. This is radicalizing a new generation of physical stackers who refuse to trust a digital bank ever again. The banks are no longer fighting a few traders. They are fighting a global revolution of people who demand their right to hold real, tangible, real-world wealth. The myth of substitution has been officially destroyed by the AI revolution. Engineers have confirmed that silver's unique conductivity is the only way to power the processors needed for advanced artificial intelligence without overheating. Silver is the oxygen of our digital age. The banks are trying to hold their breath during this freeze, but the industrial world cannot function without the metal. This ensures that when the markets reopen on Monday, the demand will be massive, sending silver prices into a parabolic state regardless of any bank rules. If we adjust silver for real-world inflation, it should be trading at over $1,000 an ounce based on the currency printed since 1971. The system frozen alert is the reality check that the financial elite have been trying to avoid for 50 years. Silver is the ultimate truth teller of currency debasement. As the dollar's credibility dies during this weekend freeze, silver is rising to its true status as the only safe haven left for the middle class to preserve their hard-earned labor and their family's future. In summary, the 2026 System Frozen Alert represents the end of the old paper-based financial world. The vaults are empty, the banks are insolvent, and industrial demand is unstoppable. The $100 silver target is now a mathematical certainty for those who secured their wealth in physical metal before the doors were locked. The era of market manipulation is ending, and the era of physical reality is beginning. This is your final warning to protect your wealth before the digital reset is officially complete. But as the banks freeze their systems this weekend, an even more aggressive move is being planned for Monday morning, January 5th. That could change how you buy food and fuel. While the focus is on the banking glitches, a leaked memo suggests a national spending limit is being discussed to prevent a total currency collapse. Tomorrow, I will break down the January 5th lockdown, the specific laws being prepared to control your spending. You cannot afford to miss tomorrow's urgent report before the reset moves to the next phase. Stay safe.